I, Brandon Grimm, am about to embark on an historic journey through time and space and comic books. No, keep rolling. I need comic books to power this thing. Yes, but where am I gonna get them? I'm sure in 1985 you can find them in any corner drugstore, but not today.
Brandon, actually, strike that, reverse that. I think in 1955 it'd be easier to find comics kind of any place.
You know, Captain.
Kind of now you sort of have to go to a specialty store, or you could get them right here.
You're right, Captain. You're right, and when you're right, you're right.
Today, Brandon really is going to embark on an historic journey because Brandon is not a big comic book fan. He's not read a whole lot of comics. I have lent him a few things, and he started to get into the medium a little bit, but we thought that it might be a creative way to show you folks some of my comic collection if we played a little game with Brandon. So what we're going to do is, in an effort to get Brandon more familiar with comics, and just so everybody knows, this is not me forcing Brandon to read comics. Brandon was totally into this idea, and just he's one of these folks, and I've talked about this a lot when I've talked about new folks trying to get into comics. It's really difficult for folks that have never been that didn't really grow up with the medium to decide where to start. And so I've been handing Brandon some stuff that I thought he would enjoy, and he started reading some stuff and thought it might be interesting if we showed you a bit of my collection by Brandon going through a bunch of it and deciding to take home a few things to read. So what we're going to do today is we're going to put half an hour on the clock, and Brandon is going to have half an hour to look through all my stuff. This is most of my personal collection. The only thing Brandon's not going to have access to in here is Batman, because that's all back in the Batcave. So Brandon might, if you don't find, I'm pretty sure you will find 5 things easily that you'll want to take home from this stuff. But if you don't, we can go in there and look at some of that stuff as well. But Batman stuff, I'll probably at some point just hand you some things and be like, this is really good Batman, you should read this.
Sounds great.
So anyway, half an hour, Brandon's going to go through a bunch of stuff, and we're going to explore my collection by, instead of my pulling out specific things and showing them to you, Brandon showing you what he thinks is interesting, not really knowing anything. And down the road, I might do a more formal collection video. Here's some of my favorite stuff and really cool stuff, but I thought this might be a neat way to do it. Before we get into it, I also want to mention that this is, first of all, this is the old set of Spawn Year. You can't tell just looking at it, but this is where we shot Spawn Year. That wall right there.
Many hours.
We struck that set, but I spent the better part of 2 years in this room shooting for Spawn Year, and that wall is about to become something else entirely. This is where I'm keeping all my comics right now, waiting for this thing to get built. But pretty soon I've got a carpenter friend that's going to build my comic wall. On that wall, it's going to be 3 rows of. It's going to be 3 rows of 10 long boxes across. So it's going to be 30 cubbies for 30 long boxes.
It's going to be the literal comic vault.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're building the comic vault in here, and we've got all the wood cut. Everything's ready to go. I just got to get him to come over and mount it. So anyway, you're seeing the early makings of that, and that's why all these books are in here. And also, here's the Tick collection. I finally have it displayed.
The Tick Museum.
And I will do a separate video showing you all this crazy stuff down the road. Brandon, are you ready to get started?
Yes, sir. Captain.
Are you ready to kind of go shopping, as it were?
Yes, supermarket sweep of comics.
That's exactly what this is, yeah. So do you have kind of a sense of your strategy at all? Do you know how you're gonna go through this?
Go down box by box, probably.
Okay,
start out.
So these are more or less, they're in order in the boxes. Now, what you see down here is actually the end of the alphabet, and then the beginning of it's down here, because I had these on top of those before. We just set this up so that Brandon can go through all the boxes. There's more back back here, some of these boxes these 4 are totally random, Brandon.
Those are issues in the back, but not back issues.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. This box here isn't, but these other 3 are just totally random because those are things I just haven't filed yet. Some of that's just new issues I haven't had a chance to file, and some of that is like a couple hundred books I bought on our Arkansas trip that I just haven't had a chance to file yet. So you'll be able to go through those as well.
All those Tick comics.
Yes. Also, a couple more things I should make note of real quick for you, just to help you get started, is
Captain.
that trades are all back here.
Okay.
So I will count trades, even though there are a lot of complete stories and more stuff, as one item, and then single issues will count as one item as well. And if you pick like a number of one of a thing, if it's a mini, I'll send you home with the whole mini, and if it's the beginning of a series, I'll either just let you read the first issue and decide if you want to keep going with it, or I'll give you like part of the first. I'll give you the whole first story.
All right.
So that's kind of everything. Also, just be careful when you're rummaging through, because I know you're going to go kind of quick. There are still some things that aren't bagged and boarded.
I have noticed.
So
I will be careful.
A little careful about that, especially some new back issues.
I will not tear up your collection.
You should also probably know. And I know you'll be careful. You should also probably know that this box on the very, very end here is all recent back issues that I've not only not filed, but haven't read yet. I have been so busy.
Wow.
I've got about 150 books I just haven't even touched that I've got brand new things, spent $3 or $4 a piece on, haven't even touched them yet. Just a bunch of my pull list is in there that I haven't read yet. And then we'll close this door here.
More Tick
stuff, yeah. There's Patrick Warburton's head, and these are some more recent things that I had set back to read more, sooner rather than later. So anyway, there it is. Are you ready, man? As we're going through, feel free to ask me questions. Feel free to ask me what things are. What are we doing now? No.
I'm
gonna let you make observations. So this is gonna be a lot more of you talking and saying, "Hey, this is interesting and stuff." So engage me. But I'm not going to do a whole lot of stopping you and telling you what things are, because I want you to get to see as much of it as you can in half an hour.
All right, put 30 minutes on the clock.
Here we go, 30 minutes on the clock. And begin.
Okay, so we've got multitudes of boxes, lots to go through. Let's get started. Okay, let's see. Here we got the end of the alphabet, you said, right? The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, and that's because I think I lumped all... You know what? I'm sorry. The bottom here, this actually might be the beginning of the alphabet. Or maybe it jumps around.
Well,
you know what?
Girls,
no, it jumps around. I think what I did was I stacked it, so it was like A, and then the next letter, and then the next... And I think I went up like that.
Okay.
I think that's why it's like... So this is half the alphabet from A to Z, and this is the other half of the alphabet, A to Z.
Okay. Interesting.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so we have Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man I've always been more a fan of Spider-Man in the movies, but I don't know a lot about Spider-Man in the comics. So this might be something that I want to come back to if I don't find 5 other things elsewhere.
Cool, well, you know what box it's in.
I know what box it's in. Okay, after the Amazing Spider-Man... Is this all Amazing Spider-Man?
There's a lot of it.
There's a good lot of Amazing... Wow, that's nice. A lot of Amazing Spider-Man.
I've got a few things...
Angel? Is that based on a TV show?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a show...
That's back when IDW was still DW and they still had the license.
The Amazing X-Men. Interesting. Well, okay. There's a show I was interested in but never saw.
Okay.
So that's also...
I will let you borrow those DVDs because they're wonderful.
Or
you watch them on Netflix.
I have heard that they are. There's Aquaman. Aquaman is not a he gets made fun of a lot, and I've never been into Aquaman.
I will tell you, I think you'd really dig the Jeff Johns stuff.
Okay. All right, let's see. More X-Men. More X-Men here.
Is that the astonishing stuff?
Yes.
Okay, that's Joss Whedon writing X-Men.
Really?
Yeah, and it's wonderful.
Okay, that
so you
intrigues me.
Put a pin in that.
Yeah, okay.
That might be a thing. And feel free to pull like an issue out of a thing, because you know how to get back to things.
Right.
So
right,
if something sort of intrigues you and you want to set it back for a minute, you feel free to do that, and then...
Indeed.
Feel free to make a mess. We'll put it all back together.
Now, you've talked a lot about Thanos lately, and I have no idea who Thanos is, so that might be worth...
You could learn something about Thanos.
Yeah.
I will suggest that if you do that, grab the Infinity Gauntlet.
Okay,
that's
you mentioned that a fair bit, too.
Introduced into Thanos. Yep.
All right, so then we come over here.
We'll find that in a couple different forms in here.
Captain America.
I think I got my hardcover back. I lent that out recently, so I don't know if I have that, but...
I will keep that in mind.
My Captain America collection is like 200 issues or so. I have a lot of it.
Ultimate Comics Cataclysm. What is Cataclysm?
Cataclysm is an event from Ultimate that was regular Universe Galactus going over to. I certainly wouldn't start reading Ultimate stuff with that, but
okay.
But it's regular Galactus going over to the Ultimate Universe.
All right, sounds interesting, but like you said,
at first we thought was going to destroy that universe, and then we did that differently later. There's Chainsaw Vigilante from the TIG.
Oh, that is some TIG stuff.
And I have that stuff in trade too.
Oh, that's cool. All right.
Also, I don't know if my TIG trades are in here. Actually, I think those are still upstairs.
I'll tell you what, TIG is something I'm interested in reading. Since you got me watching some of the comics.
Or some of the
cartoons. Yeah. Excuse me. Some of the cartoons. That's kind of up my alley.
Well, okay, cool. Well, you'll want to start if you want to grab that. You'll want to start with the first run Ben Edlund stuff, and I have that in trade.
All right, lots of Daredevil stuff too. You always talk about Daredevil. You are a fan of Daredevil.
That's the Frank Miller stuff. That's the Marie days.
The same Frank Miller that did Batman and
Dark Knight Returns.
He did Sin City.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Sin City.
See, look, he's learning.
I have learned stuff over the course of eons.
There we go.
So, okay, showcasing my limited knowledge.
No, good job. What's that?
Darkness?
The Darkness. The Darkness was an Image thing that was published right around the same time as Spawn and Witchblade.
Okay.
And I've heard that some of that is just as convoluted as Spawn is, although I haven't read much of it. The Darkness Batman crossover I enjoyed a lot, but that's been years since I've read that.
All right, cool.
There's a video game series that people really like.
Gotcha. All right, we got some Gambit here. Go through and Ghostbusters. There's something I'm interested in for sure. Let's see.
Get the first issue there.
This is pardon me, but I'm not even sure how to tell if that's the first issue.
Okay. So this is 6. Where is the beginning of that? Weird. Okay. This is either out of order or the rest of those are someplace else. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Well, that's okay. Something to keep in mind. And yeah, I may just pick one up and start it somewhere.
Well, in that series, I would suggest starting at the beginning. I have those out of order apparently.
Okay.
Do you know what happened? I know what it is. I lent this out once to Tim Lyons, and I put several in one bag.
Okay.
So that's what happened.
Can I pull this bag out there?
Yeah, feel free.
All right, and there's one that I'm definitely interested in.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
and look at the art on that.
If you end up liking that, it's a long series. I have all of it, and it had a second run.
Can you see that all right on camera?
Yes.
The art looks very cool on this.
I like churning a lot.
Just on the front of it. So that's definitely. I love the way they've got Egon drawn back there.
There are also several really pretty solid miniseries.
All right.
Go along with that as well.
So there's more Ghostbusters stuff.
So yeah, I might as well skip past that, and then we'll get you started on that series.
Green Arrow. You lent me a Green Arrow book, and I gotta say, I'm not exactly a fan. So far as what I've read, maybe I go back and read it again. I might be more of a fan.
You didn't like Longbow Hunters?
It was interesting, but I was not in the right headspace for it at the time.
Okay. I didn't realize you actually finished it. Did you bring it back to me?
No, I haven't. I still have it.
I didn't realize you ever got to it.
No, I did, and I just need to rewrite it. What the heck? This is Green Lantern stuff.
That's Green Lantern, yeah. I actually got that signed by the guy who drew that.
Oh, very nice. Very cool. I heard that the movie The Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds tanked.
It's bad.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Guardians of the Galaxy, there's a movie I need to watch still. You lent that to me and I haven't gotten to it.
Yeah, and that's an earlier run of Guardians that's a kind of a totally different thing.
Okay.
With kind of a different cast of characters.
Oh, interesting.
The current Guardian stuff is based a lot more on the modern stuff, mostly. I want to say, I'm going to get in trouble, I think mostly started by Abbott Lanning. I don't know if I'm totally right about that.
Well, it looks interesting, but again, not necessarily my bag. I keep
needing to go back and review that stuff, because I've never read that. There's Itty Bitty Hellboy.
Itty Bitty Hellboy.
Mm-hmm.
That does look interesting.
Done by the team that does Tiny Titans. You remember I bought some of that on a trip
I do remember that. That interested me as well.
Okay, when we get to those, you might want to borrow some of that.
It's very possible.
Because those are funny.
Hit Girl. Is that...
Yeah, that's part of Kick-Ass.
Yeah, that's a... thank you. That's what I was trying to remember.
But I don't have all that. I bought the first issue and didn't continue with it, I don't think.
All right. What is... does that... Impulse?
Yeah, Impulse is one of the speedsters in DC. I have that just because it was part of that story arc. Not that that was a good story arc or anything. There's Jason Aaron's Incredible Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk.
I liked Aaron's run on that until toward the end. I don't have all of it, but the beginning of it's kind of cool.
Gotcha.
The definitive one on Hulk, of course, is Peter David's. I don't have those.
Okay.
Right now,
I got
unfortunately.
you.
People
there's
like,
more.
There's
the Infinity Gauntlet you've been talking about, the Thanos stuff.
Yes.
Infinity Gauntlet.
You want to read those.
Well, let me come back to this
especially
here.
because that will make Infinity War, when we get to it, make a lot more sense.
Iron Man.
Or at least you'll appreciate having read the source material. Not that you have to read source material to watch that stuff.
You know what I haven't been able to watch yet? What I haven't seen is the Age of Ultron.
Oh, okay.
I haven't gotten there either.
Tell me you've at least seen Winter Soldier.
I went to see it with you.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Joker.
Yeah.
That looks
One
pretty
of those
cool.
Secret Files and Origins things.
I've always wanted to know more about the Joker, even though that everything about the Joker is like different, really.
Oh, there's a lot of different.
He makes up his stuff.
Things, yeah. Yep.
Powerpuff Girls. Do you have the first Powerpuff Girls?
Yes, it's in the other room right now because I've been reviewing those. So feel free to pull one of those out and put a pin in it.
There's a pin on this. I want the first Powerpuff Girls.
Now do you because I've got the first series by DC, and then I've got the more recent stuff from IDW.
Let's go with the first series.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So
You should read those too. They're great.
I can tell you right now, I'm not going for Spawn.
Oh, come on, why not?
I worked for 2 years on Spawn Year with you, and I happen to have learned all I ever care to learn about Spawn. Just going right there right now.
Where is my Spawn #1 right now? Why is it not? I don't know where
Maybe
that
it's
is.
back here in the other box.
No, it's, you know what? It's in the front of this.
Oh, nice.
Of course, naturally.
Powerpuff Girls.
You should realize that because the Silver Surfer is there because that goes in this box over here.
You know what? This is also taking more time than I considered, but that's okay. Pride and
if we can't
wisdom.
do it in the half an hour, I'll give you some more time. This is fun to do.
Or we can do a second. They did that?
Oh yeah, those are hilarious. They're quite good.
Okay,
they're mostly parodies of comic book stuff, so I don't know how much you'll appreciate them because they do a lot.
Well,
of,
I
genre.
I saw the episode where he became Radioactive Man in the movies, and I actually did dig that.
But what they'll do is they'll do like one issue will be mostly making fun of like Dark Knight Returns, and another issue will be making, that kind of thing. So like some of it might be a little over your head before getting into more comic book stuff, but they're still funny. I mean,
well, I will keep that in mind, but I will pass it for now because I've already got 2 and I'm looking for 5. Okay, so
now that you've said that, there is a trade. You keep going.
Okay.
There's a trade that when I hand it to you, I know you will put in your list. You'll just straight up make it part of your list.
All right, that sounds good.
I mean, you don't have to, but you will. I'm just saying.
Now, I will say this. With the last few times we've been to the comic book store that you've taken me, I have seen some stuff that had some really incredible art attached to it. And that was that's part of a Guardians of the Galaxy. I know that. Rocket Raccoon, yeah. And there's been some really good art that just instantly drew me to some stuff, but now I can't think of what it was. There's a book that I have. I've got Sex Criminals. I think it's is it a trade book that I bought on the trip?
You haven't finished that yet?
I did not get to finish it yet, but I really want to do that. So I've got that in queue at home. I need to go pull that back out. I put it in a box, and I never got back to the box.
Oh yeah, here are those trades.
Oh, cool. We got some Serenity.
Yep.
Even some Sesame Street.
Leaves in the Wind? Yeah.
Serenity here. And then...
that's the follow-up to the
Sesame Street. Why does he have a chain? He's jumping rope with a paperclip chain. I see now.
That makes sense.
I see.
He stole from Bert, and Bert's probably freaking out about it.
Well, I can't tell... Yeah, he is freaking out about it. He's got that expression on his face.
He's not going to be happy about that.
What is Shadowland, my friend?
Shadowland is one of the worst Daredevil things I've ever read.
Okay, it's a takeoff from Daredevil.
It's a Daredevil event.
Shame Itself. That looks funny.
That's a parody of Fear Itself. Yeah, it's another Marvel event. Here is the first half of the Ben Edlund Tick stuff.
I think this is something I would love to read.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to go ahead and say
with the Tick and his Viewmaster.
Yes to this.
Okay, sweet.
So I tell you what, maybe we take this first video 30 minutes. I've gone through, we're still going through. I find 5 on these, read them, get back to you, and then we continue with the rest of them.
Well, we'll see how this goes. That might be how we'll end up wanting to do it.
I heard such bad things about the Fantastic Four Silver Surfer movie that it made me never want to know about Silver Surfer.
Well, that's
Am
unfortunate.
I wrong?
'Cause Silver Surfer's awesome.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe I have to revisit
Yeah,
it. I should talk to you more about these
I'm a
things.
big Galactus fan.
See, I have heard the word on the street, and you might think I'm a simpleton for going with the word on the street, but at the same time, like,
Well, it's just
I
the
don't know
movie's not very
enough.
good, but-
I need to know more.
Yeah.
And if Cap has the knowledge to tell me these things...
There's a series I've got called Fantasy Masterpieces. You'll get to it when you get back over here, probably.
All right.
That collects or that reprints, and that's going to be all Spawn, so you can just skip past that.
All right.
That since you're not interested in Spawn.
Well, there's another spoof cover, it looks like.
Yeah, McFarlane did a whole year's worth of those.
See, I know enough to know that's an Action Comics spoof.
Yep. But anyway, what I was going to say is what was I talking about? I'm sorry, I totally lost my train of thought.
So did I. I lost your train of thought as well.
Oh, man. Oh, Fantasy Masterpieces. They reprinted the original Silver Surfer miniseries in that, and read that, and I think you'll really appreciate Silver Surfer. Also, there's a run going on right now, right? I guess we finished, or we're about to finish, with Dan Slott. That's really good.
I had no idea Spider-Woman existed.
Mm-hmm.
And
a lot
I
of
just
different versions of
lost the
Spider-Woman now,
spot
too.
where this goes in your box.
Oh, that's
I
all right.
apologize.
Well, that's issue 13, and that's 8, so alphanumerical. That goes right there.
9. Oh, okay, good. All right. So then, more Spider-Girl looks slightly interesting, but
Yeah, Spider-Girl is really good. And I don't have much of it.
Star Trek.
There's some Star Trek. I don't have a ton of Star Trek, mostly because I have a disc that has all of those digitally, so I haven't bought a lot because I can read them that way if I
Oh,
want
wow.
to. So,
That's really cool.
I haven't collected Star Trek real hard. I have some of the IDW stuff because it's more recent, and that stuff, of course, is not on that disc because that goes through, like, I don't know, 06, I think.
I remember.
I have a few things.
Is that Trelane?
That's
Yes,
Trelane,
that is
yeah.
Trelane. I had not seen that episode, but I recognized him. I
You've
know.
still never seen Square of Gothos? I'm going to have to make you watch
I know, right?
It's one of my favorites.
I
Yeah.
call myself a Star Trek guy. I remember.
Q was kind of based on him. I mean, you need to watch that.
I remember when we were on our trip for the documentary, and I saw a trade of newspaper comics of Star Trek. I had no idea they were ever in the newspaper.
Yeah, that was the thing I didn't know until I saw that too, actually.
That's crazy. All right, so
Yeah, I've
Star
got a lot
Trek.
of movie stuff in there. It
Yeah.
looks like, and then there's some of the IDW stuff that's based on the Abrams verse. Some of that's good. It's really hit and miss. As you can tell, I bought it spottily because a lot of it I just haven't loved. So
Here's
I buy here and there.
This is a mirror Spock then.
Yeah, they did a really strange thing with that, where it's like Mirror Universe, but it's the Abrams
rebooted
verse Mirror Universe. And
Yeah,
they,
that
I don't
is
know.
really weird.
But the way they jump over to it is really strange.
Just in and of itself, I think that's strange. Oh, that's some fun stuff. Next gen right there.
Yep.
All right, now the Star Trek Next X-Men crossover. I didn't know that was a comic book.
Yeah,
I saw it in.
There are actually a couple of those. So the novel that I know you're about to reference
Yes.
is actually a direct sequel to that.
Wow, and I thought that was the first thing.
Yep.
And we got Guinan in front and center right there.
But they actually wrote them together. You get to the end of that comic, and it says to be
Noskin?
continued in this novel.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, you remember that guy?
Yeah. Why is he there?
I don't know.
Brothers in Darkness. Huh?
I have no idea. That's I want to say that guy's from Allegiance. That's a 4-part miniseries written by Brennan Braga, which is why it's just convoluted as all heck, if memory serves. But it's basically just a big reunion thing for the Borg.
But with Next Gen crew.
It's fun to read.
With
it's not great, but I enjoyed it.
With the casual uniform, I swear this was listed as the casual uniform in that magazine I saw earlier.
No, it wasn't, because that magazine you looked at was like second season.
Right, but what was the casual uniform? If you look at it, it has strong resemblance to this uniform.
Well, just because it has a stripe along and then stripes at the top, but it's a different thing.
All right. So more.
You're saying that because it was in black and white.
Star Trek X-Men.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got Star Wars.
A couple issues of Marvel Star Wars. I really want to get more of those now. Now that Marvel has the license back and they've reprinted all that stuff, I'm probably gonna buy that in trade. They're putting out these big. I mean, it'd be cool to have the first editions, but they're gonna get expensive here pretty quick. Maybe they already are.
Sure.
But they're putting out these hardcovers that collect like 50, 60 issues at a time for like $100.
Oh wow.
They're pretty.
I bet they are.
It's like that big giant Simonson Thor tome that I reviewed.
That's a pretty cover.
It is. Well, the art's terrible, but
well, I kind of liked it.
That's 90s Marvel for you. Oh, okay, well, that means you would love New 52.
Not necessarily. Again, I've heard bad things about.
So there's some 90s Superboy stuff. I have a lot of things circa right after Death of Superman, because as you know, I'm a giant Death of Superman fan.
You are a huge Death of Superman guy. Your Death of Superman bathroom speaks volumes.
Yep. And speaking of volumes, if you ever want to actually give some of that a shot, there's my tome for that. I have most of it in singles, but I bought that just because it was pretty and I wanted to be able to read it without going and finding them all, because they're collected within 4 different series.
I'm pretty sure I've seen this at Elite.
That's where I bought it.
Oh, well, there you go.
I bought his copy. They were having like a 25% off trade sale one day, and I bought it then. Cool. But I've heard that there's actually one that came out recently that I didn't know about that actually collects more than that one does. So I'm oh, dang it. But that's okay. I don't know. That's pretty, but it doesn't.
You can always sell it
as much of it as they should. Yep. During that period, Supergirl, there was this other version of Supergirl that was a shapeshifter, and she was dating Lex Luthor. And Lex Luthor was supposedly a clone, but was actually the real Lex Luthor. Spoiler alert. All
right, so now we got this superior Spider-Man.
Yep, I don't have much of that because I'm not a big Slott fan, and I just didn't keep going with it.
I did not know that existed. So
that is Doc Ock in Spider-Man's body.
Oh, I've heard you reference that before.
That's that whole thing.
I got you.
Superior.
I got you.
There go these
more Superman, or the start of Superman over here. So we got Superman stuff. That looks good. You know, I know a little bit about Superman. He appeals to me in that, you know, he's awesome. But I'm not sure. I've never read any Superman, so that might be interesting.
Like I said, he had to die before I loved reading about him. But I mean, I always loved the Christopher Reeve movie. That cover you just picked up, that was a Silver Banshee. Also, I want to show you. Sorry, I told you I wouldn't do this.
Oh, you're fine.
Real quick, where is it? You went over an annual. I thought you got to the annual. Where is it? Nah, I don't see it now. There's a book, there's an Elseworlds thing that I always liked, or I think it's kind of Elseworldsy, where Superman becomes president of the United States.
Okay.
Which makes no sense because he wasn't born here.
Huh. Yeah. He can't do that by virtue of our Constitution.
They just don't even deal with it, if memory serves.
Well, there you go.
I don't remember.
That's the way it goes.
Okay, we're getting close to the half-hour mark, so what I would suggest, since you're only going to get through about half of it, is to jump over to the trades.
All right.
And then
that sounds good.
And then maybe come back, because that way you can read some more stuff in full stories. And a lot of the really important stuff I've got in trade.
All right. Well, let's switch sides here.
But I don't know. I'd like to see you go through some of the trades real quick. Not that I'm a big trade guy. I mean, I'm much more of a single issue guy. But so for the sake of reading,
these are trades, and these are trades, and these are trades.
Yeah, that's it.
Big giant books. Okay, we've got.
That's it. And by the way, when I get this wall built, folks, we're gonna have traditional shelves at the top up here that will hold all this trade. So they're not gonna stay on these lawn boxes. Actually, those used to be in my library upstairs, but I brought them down here because they're gonna go, down here.
Okay, speaking of trades, Turtles is one I really wanted to get into. So now,
some of that stuff is really weird. So that's the classic Turtle stuff, and I don't have the first volume of that. So I don't have the original Mirage stuff yet. I just don't have a copy of it right now. But
can you pick it up at volume 2?
Yeah, I mean it wouldn't be a big deal. I would suggest that you start with the new current IDW stuff. I think you'd like it better. But if you want to go back and read some of the weird stuff, that's totally cool.
Well, should. I've seen some of the art on the current IDW stuff, and I really dug that. We've been in a couple of places.
Well, it's just a thing that's really easy to get invested in. I mean, that stuff goes kind of all over the place. We've got one good long-running story. There's some of the tick trades that's Chainsaw Vigilante and Paul the Samurai. Lex Luthor Man of Steel is one of my favorite Superman stories of all time.
Okay. There's more Silver Surfer stuff. What is that?
What is that?
Battle Hymn?
I don't even know what that is. There's some stuff. So in the back there, there's a bunch of stuff that people have sent me in the mail that I haven't looked at yet.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe
that used to be my mailbox. Not to be confused with my mailbox. So there's some really random things in there that some I've reviewed, some I haven't. Actually, I don't think there's much in there at all that I've reviewed. But anyway,
I have a copy of this for some reason
because it's Cameron Cook.
Okay.
He's a guy that I know from. He's local.
Okay, that must have been a free comic book day.
He's
or
written
something.
some biography comics for that company. Name escapes me right now.
I gotcha. All right.
But
So
anyway.
we got some stuff you haven't looked at yet.
Okay, there's some random X-Men. Why don't you jump over to the trade box next to you?
Indeed. I'll tell you what, though. I know that you have some X-Files around here. That is going to be something I'd like to borrow.
Okay, cool.
Marvel
I've
Zombies.
been buying that whole series, so that'll be something fun for you to read for a long time. What's up?
You've talked about Marvel Zombies before. How much do you like that?
I like Marvel Zombies a lot. A lot of people don't. I don't know that. Now, I would start, of course, with the first book.
Sure.
Marvel Zombies, I don't think is a thing that you would appreciate as much without reading more straight 616 Marvel.
Okay.
I don't think, but I don't know. You might enjoy it. 1602 is that way too, where it's kind of Marvel repackaged in the Tudor era. Which is great, and
interesting.
And Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, I recommend really hard. It's one of my favorite things now.
All right. Well, you intrigued me on the artwork on this just by saying in the Tudor era, so I do want to just flip through this.
Oh, absolutely,
quickly.
yeah. And that's Gaiman, and Gaiman's amazing.
You might have noticed I started to flip. I started to flip through this book the opposite way. That's because I'm left-handed. I do that with books.
I was like, are you used to reading manga?
I'll flip them backwards, even though I know full well they go the other direction. But that's a product of my left hand right there.
Brandon, I'm looking at the clock over there. It looks like we got about 6 minutes left.
Okay. You have all the Walking Dead here.
I have the first compendium, which is like 40, 50-something issues.
That's something worth borrowing at some point.
And I've not read that yet, believe it or not.
That is something I want to
Somebody gave me that for
into.
Christmas a couple years ago, and I've still not gotten to it.
There's Infinity
Gauntlet in hardcover. That's the best way to read it.
Star Trek
There's
Countdown. I have
Countdown
that.
thing.
I do have that. I got it for Christmas one year. The Amazing Spider-Man.
That's JMS on Spider-Man.
Okay.
J. Michael Straczynski.
More Marvel Zombies. Infinite Crisis.
Infinite Crisis is not a bad thing to read without knowing anything, I don't think.
Okay.
There's a
Superman.
Superman just by itself. The big hardcover I showed you is the entire 3-act story.
Gotcha.
That's the death, the funeral, and then the return.
All right. Well, there's some Serenity. You've mentioned that a few times.
I don't think you've I don't know that you've watched Firefly, have you?
I have not.
Okay, I'll have to do that at some point.
seen the first episode, actually.
Okay.
My roommate showed me. Star Trek The Next Generation. Is that any good?
I didn't care for it.
No?
Some of it's better than other things. It's 4 or 5 short stories set in between various things in TNG.
All right. Well, the artwork doesn't jump out at me immediately, so I'll set that back down.
It's different artists. Some of it's, again, better than other parts of it. 1985 is fascinating. That is a wordless comic book.
All right.
The entire story is told. I guess it's not actually. I thought that was 1985. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
All right.
I guess I am. There's another thing. Okay, I actually haven't read that now that I'm looking at it. There's another thing that's like short stories that are all completely wordless. I thought it was that. So that's the the Dark Horse Mask stuff.
Okay.
And the Mask is one of the most gratuitously violent and juvenile things I've read. I like things about it, but believe it or not, the Hollywooding it up and making it more family friendly actually made it a better thing.
Made it a better thing. All right. Well, show me where your X-Men, or not your X-Men, your X-Files is.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's an easy thing to just grab you the first issue of. When we find it, let's see here. 1 second. It's probably this box back here.
I know I picked some up earlier when I filled the box.
Yeah, I'll just throw you the. There you go. So there's the first issue of that.
All right, and I say I've got 4.
You got 4.
How about a captain's pick?
Why don't we find more? Oh, you want me to just give you something?
Sure.
That's a good idea.
A captain's pick.
All right. I wish we were doing this live, and then people could be like, "Oh, give them that."
Indeed, that would be fun. That would have
been fun. Let me give you, because I know you're going to read these. Why don't I give you like the first 6 of these?
Okay.
I'll look at these here in a second when we stop recording and figure out where the story arc breaks are, because some of these are like 2 or 3 issue arcs, and some of them are like kind of one and dones, and
cool.
that kind of thing. But anyway, so we'll put those in bags and boards.
Sounds good.
Okay, so what do you have right now? I've got X-Files.
X-Files.
You grab Tick. You got Powerpuff Girls.
And Ghostbusters.
Okay, so you got...
Yes.
So you got a lot of comedy stuff there. All right, excuse me. Let's see. The obvious thing for me to do would just be to throw you Infinity Gauntlet. Because I do think you would enjoy that, and that's...
I know you've been hitting me hard on
I know. Yeah. Well, it's one of my favorite things. I mean...
Well, it would help. It would help knowing Infinity Gauntlet because you talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
In a lot of things.
You know what? I don't know if I've... These are not in any kind of order right now because I need to, put these on a shelf. But let's see. Did you say you had any interest at all in Spider-Man?
I have some interest, not a huge interest. If you think there's something that I would like, by all means.
Okay, I'm gonna give you Kraven's Last Hunt.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna have you read that and then maybe Infinity Gauntlet later. Like, let's get you into some individual Marvel things.
All
Just
right.
2 or 3 things. And then, I don't know. This will surprise you. You will not expect that. You'll never see that coming. So I think you should try that out.
Let me ask you really quick.
That is one of Dan Torrey's absolute favorite Spider-Man stories.
While we're on the subject
He
of
will love
Spider-Man,
me for handing you that.
All right. While we're on the subject of Spider-Man, do you have an issue or the start of a run that deals with Gwen Stacy?
No, I don't have that stuff right now. Well, I have the trade where her father dies, which is like right before she dies. But I don't actually have the Death of Gwen Stacy in any form right now.
Okay.
That's some old trade stuff I just got to go back and grab.
Gotcha.
And if folks, if you're wondering if some of the major stuff and why I don't have it, there's things that I really want to eventually have. The originals of the actual first editions. And so some things I've read, but I just haven't. I've read like other people's
Invested
people
in
I know
them
and stuff, and I just haven't invested in them yet. Yeah, because like I said, I'm not a big trade buyer. So some of that stuff I don't buy just to have the stories.
30 seconds!
Some of it I do just so I can read it. But anyway, there's a look at half of it. Brandon's got some things to read. And what we're going to do is we're going to have Brandon read those as quick as he can. Not like right now, but later.
The Amazing Spider-Man. The X-Files Season 10.
Okay, stop that. So we're going to have Brandon go home and read some of this. And then we will do a follow-up. I think that's a good idea, Brandon. We'll do a follow-up where we'll have you bring those back and just briefly tell us what you think of them.
Sure.
And then we'll have you grab 5 more from the other half. And who knows, by then, we might actually already have this wall built, but we may not. And I'm hoping that we can do that sometime in the near future. So we'll see. We'll see how long it takes you to get through this. I didn't give you anything super long, though.
Nope.
The take reads real quick. I mean, that is a trade, but it reads quick. You've only got 2 trades there. Everything else is singles, or, I gave you the first 6 of X-Files.
But that's all right. That'll read fast for me.
That's also a thing that if you like it, there's a ton of it. So I wouldn't count that as a thing that you need to finish before we come back and do more of this. So just read the first issue and tell me what you think of it.
Check it out. I'm the Statue of Liberty.
Well, anyway, everybody, thanks always for watching. Sure hope you enjoyed seeing, a few pieces of my collection here and there. And as I said, down the road I may do some kind of a little bit more of a formal video, but kind of just running through these with somebody that's not familiar, I think is really fun. And thanks for doing this, Brandon.
No problem. It was my pleasure.
I sure hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
And everybody, we'll see you again shortly with more exciting videos here on Geekvolution. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Brandon.
We'll see you later.